I am, thank you.
Hey, thanks for joining us, and I'm honored to be here. Why don't we all introduce ourselves so everybody knows who we are?
I'm Jill Evans. I'm the Director of Women and Family Services for the Vermont Department of Corrections.
And Representative Joan Lennis from Shumlin, who reported the children of incarcerated parents.
Very ably.
I'm Amy Davenport. I'm the Administrative Judge for the Trial Court.
Cindy Welker, Deputy Commissioner, Department for Children and Families.
Lynn Granger, Director of Vermont Kim as Parents.
And I'm Representative Sandy Haas from Rochester. I'm Vice Chair of Human Services, and I was the sponsor of the minor guardianship bill.
And I want to thank those who are assembled here for their great work on both H581 and H325. As you know, in Vermont, we continue to face struggles with drug addiction and opiate addiction. And one of the things that we don't talk enough about in Vermont is the extraordinary struggles that children of addicted parents are put through as a result of their parents' addiction. When someone is incarcerated for addiction or any other reason, two things happen. One is the children often lose the structure that they had in their lives. They lose their housing. They lose their main caregiver or caregivers. They lose, in many cases, their self-respect and self-esteem as they deal with the challenges of instability at home and incarceration of the people that we hope would be caring for them. So really, I think what the legislature did a great job of, and I want to give a shout out to both Representative Sandy Haas and Representative Lennis, is to do two things. One, H581, which is long overdue, makes long needed changes to the minor guardianship work that we have to do to make sure that we're getting kids in the best possible situations that we can when family members are removed from their homes. The second, which was sponsored by Representative Sandy Haas and Joan Lennis, both did great work, really looks at a study committee that really asked the question, how do we do a better job with kids of incarcerated parents? So they're both great bills. I'm delighted to sign them, and I want to turn over to the people who did the hard work, and we'll start with Judge Davenport, who sees the challenges of children whose parents are incarcerated or parents incarcerated from the inside of the court system. So thank you, Judge Davenport.
Thank you. Well, I can speak actually to both pieces of legislation. They're both extremely important. Certainly, we see in the courts what happens to children when parents are incarcerated, and we need to find a place for those children, sometimes with a family member, could be through minor guardianship, sometimes through DCF, because very often the incarceration of one parent, especially when the other parent is not around, means that the child is not going to have their parent taking care of them, the parent that they have come to depend on taking care of them. So this legislation is extremely important and addresses a significant issue. The minor guardianship bill, as the governor said, we haven't taken a look at our minor guardianship law since sometime prior to 1947. That was as far back as I could go. And minor guardianships are a legal proceeding in probate court. They allow grandparents, aunts, uncles, and other family members to, often on a voluntary basis, to take guardianship of children when parents are unable to care for the child. The minor guardianship legislation was very challenging. The legislature directed a group of us, including some of the folks here, to take on this issue 3 years ago, I think. We were supposed to do it in a year. It took us 2 years. We had to, but it really was a testimony the result was testimony, I think, to the way in which really great legislation can come about when you have a group of very knowledgeable and really committed folks sitting around the table who have significant differences of opinion about what the result should be, but are willing to hammer out those differences and come up with a process that makes sense. So that committee that was formed by the legislature brought a bill to the legislature. Sandy introduced it, and I also want to credit both the Senate Judiciary Committee and the House Judiciary Committee for taking a great deal of testimony on this bill, really going through the provisions and making some improvements to it, as should happen during the legislative process. And I think we came out with a really good result. So it is a testimony to hard work by a lot of people, but I think we came out with a terrific result, which is probably way in advance of what other states have done in minor guardian. Most states have not. We looked for models around the state. We couldn't find any because most states really have not paid much attention to this area, even though minor guardianships have been on the increase as a result of some of the problems that the governor mentioned. So, thank you.
Thank you, Judge Davenport. Cindy Walcott, Deputy Commissioner, Family Services.
Thank you, Governor. I would just like to say that I am very proud to have chaired the Minor Guardianship Committee. And like Judge Davenport, I feel like it was a very healthy and robust process. And one of the reasons that I think it's so important to have a good, well-informed process in the state of Vermont is it really provides families with a set of tools that they can use to take care of their own family members. So, for instance, in my own family a few years ago, a mother of some young children were deployed. She was deployed in Iraq. So the existence of a vehicle for a minor guardianship allowed her parents to be able to assume care and have legal standing for that child. So it's not only situations such as the governor mentioned, where opiates may be an issue, but situations in which there is a temporary absence of a parent, an illness, a deployment, these kinds of things. So this really provides a way for families to take care of each other, and I think that's very important. Thank you.
Thanks for your good work, Cindy. Jill, do you want to say anything? Are you happy?
I guess I would like to
Come
say...
over here and they'll get mad at me. Jill Levis, Director of Women and Family Services.
I'm just really excited about the opportunity to take a look at the issue that kids face when their parents go to prison. We have a unique opportunity in the state of Vermont where the Department of Corrections falls under the Agency of Human Services. In most states, that's not the case. It's usually under public safety or the court system or something. And so I think that with the importance of children and families across the agency, that we have an opportunity to really look at what I think may have been an invisible group of people in the service system that we have, and really come to understand the trauma that kids experience when they're separated from their parents. And there's also research that talks about the importance of maintaining positive family connections and children having better outcomes when that happens. And also, it reduces recidivism for those people who are incarcerated. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to maybe get ahead of the curve and start looking at how we can be working with these kids to keep them from ending up in the criminal justice system themselves. So thank you.
Either Representative Haas or Representative Lentz, or both?
Well, with respect to the minor guardianship bill, the main thing I want to do is acknowledge the work that was done by the study committee. I think this bill represents legislative process at its best. Several years ago, the legislature recognized that we needed to look at this area of law and delegated a large number of people to get together, headed by Deputy Commissioner Walcott. And I was privileged to sit in on their last few meetings, and they worked incredibly hard. And they brought us a draft that allowed us to pass this in one session. And I think that is a testament to the work that they did. It's a great bill. It clarifies things like parental visitation when there is a guardianship. What happens when you consent to guardianship and then change your mind down the line? How is that handled? What happens with sibling contact? These are all issues that are very important to children. And it's a great bill. And I thank everyone who worked so hard on it.
Thank you, Sandy. John?
And if I can just add how I appreciate the workings of Vermonters, and the legislators, the administration, the advocates, working together. All parties work for what is best, and in this case, what is best for children and families. And I am so proud to be able to do this work in Vermont. And I may have reported the bill, I may have ushered it in, but it was all the others that collaboratively got us where we are today. So thank you.
Way to go. Thanks for both of your great work. And let's sign these bills and make them law. You ready? Here we go. Crowd on in. This is called a photo op.
Could you squat down?
Okay. I just need a ball. I just need a ball.
I'm on my toes.
All right, here we go. Ready? Let's see. 6. Is it 3rd today? Do we all agree on that?
Yes, 6, 3, 14.
Look at that. 1 down, 1 to go. Different pen. Great work, team. They are law. And we're going to give you this pen for your great work, John.
Thank you.
And Sandy, we're giving you the other one for your great
Thank you
work.
very much.
And I should have had a 3rd for Judge Davenport.